Hello, everyone, and thank you for participating in the Lytham Partners Spring 2022 Investor Conference. My name is Joe Diaz. I'm a managing partner at Lytham Partners. For this presentation, we welcome STRATA Skin Sciences, which trades on the NASDAQ exchange under the ticker symbol of SSKN. Representing STRATA Skin today is Bob Moccia, President and Chief Executive Officer. Bob will run through a slide presentation and we will engage in a brief Q&A session afterwards. Before we begin, for those not familiar with Lytham Partners, we are one of the country's leading investor relations firms with more than 2 decades of corporate access experience. We have built one of the industry's most diverse and effective platforms for connecting small cap companies with high quality and focused institutional investors, while creating a framework of best practices in all aspects of investor relations. One final item before we begin, I want to remind everyone that Bob will be available for one-on-one meetings later this week. If you have not already signed up, please visit the Lytham Partners website at lythampartners.com/virtual and click the one-on-one meeting request button. With that said, let me turn the proceedings over to Bob Moccia, President and CEO of STRATA Skin Sciences. Bob, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to Lytham Partners for giving us the opportunity to present STRATA Skin Sciences to you today. Let me just pull up my slides here. Okay. So as our safe harbor statement, which I won't go into obviously, but feel free to read it at your leisure. STRATA Skin Sciences is the manufacturer and worldwide distributor of the 308 nanometer eczema laser called XTRAC. STRATA Skin Sciences addresses very large markets in chronic skin diseases with differentiated laser-based treatments. We have a customer base of almost 1,000 partner practices, and that's growing every quarter. We've expanded into international markets, particularly in Asia, and continue to expand in 2022 into other areas in Asia, as well as in the Middle East. We have a recurring revenue model, which drives sustainable revenues for the company. We're sales driven, expanding by device usage and by new partner practices. Our recent product acquisitions are opening significant growth opportunities for the company going forward. STRATA went through a number of changes in 2021, which positioned us for growth acceleration going forward in the treatment of chronic skin conditions. As far as new leadership goes, I've been with the company now just about a year. I joined in March 1 of 2021. We have a new CFO, Chris Lesovitz, who joined the company in July and was promoted to CFO in October of 2021. We brought on a new VP of marketing to really help with our marketing directly to dermatologists. Recently, we brought on John Bagdasarian, Vice President of Professional Relations. John has over 25 years of experience in the dermatology space and brings a number of relationships with KOLs and advocacy groups that will help really generate interest around the eczema laser for treatments like psoriasis and vitiligo. We have a new Director of Business Operations whose really job and focus is on analytics and making sure that we are analyzing the right data and have the proper information for our sales force to follow. And we've also added 3 new board members to our board, which really have contributed greatly, not only in the audit committee, but also in our overall governance as well. We have a commercial focus and execution, which is key to our success. The company's always been involved with direct-to-consumer marketing, and we really use that as a tool to drive patients into the dermatologist's office. As I mentioned, we increased our direct-to-dermatology marketing, and we want to make sure that when we send a patient into the dermatologist's office, that they will actually get prescribed the use of the eczema laser and not another topical drug or oral drug. So we have really increased our efforts in that area. We're partnering with advocacy groups. So we recently announced a support for the Global Vitiligo Foundation, as well as a National Psoriasis Foundation. We certainly make sure that we invest in sales training for our sales team of 30 representatives in the field and make sure they're focused and targeted on their efforts in calling on dermatologists. And then, of course, international organic growth and expansion, which we'll talk about later. We made 2 acquisitions recently. In August of 2020, we acquired the Pharos eczema laser business from Raw Medical Systems. And in January of this year, we acquired the Theraclear Acne business from Theravan Corporation, which puts us into a very large market in dermatology, acne, about $5 billion. And along with the Theraclear acquisition came some additional indications that we'll develop and launch in future years in other dermatology indications. The company has got FDA approval of our eczema laser for 3 indications: psoriasis, vitiligo, and atopic dermatitis. And these are large, unmet, common chronic dermatological conditions. Psoriasis is an autoimmune disease that causes the skin to regenerate faster than normal, characterized by red, itchy, scaly patches. 65% of the cases are mild, 25% moderate, and 10% severe. About 8 million patients in the US. Vitiligo is an autoimmune condition due to the loss of melanocytes, characterized by patches of skin losing its pigment. About 5 million patients in the US. And atopic dermatitis is an inflammatory condition characterized by red and itchy skin that flares up periodically. About 18 million patients in the US. Psoriasis is the #1 use of the eczema laser domestically. We see opportunities in both vitiligo and eczema or atopic dermatitis going forward. There's some new drugs coming out, topical drugs for the treatment of vitiligo, JAK inhibitors, and we know that they'll be making a lot of noise in the dermatology offices. We are one of the few treatments that are indicated for vitiligo, so we know that we will get patients coming in that will be prescribed the eczema laser, either as monotherapy or in conjunction with some of the topical JAKs. When you look at the eczema laser in the treatment of psoriasis, the treatment is an emission of a beam of light that is applied to the affected area. That UVB light induces apoptosis of the keratinocytes and T cells in the dermis. This promotes immunosuppression and induces alterations in the cytokine profile. The clinical protocol is typically about 6.2 treatments to reach a PASI score of 75, which is the endpoint severity index score that's used in evaluating most psoriasis treatments. In the treatment of vitiligo, similarly, a beam of light is applied to the affected area. The light reduces the immune system's attack on the melanocytes, which results in repigmentation. It's simple, safe, effective, and long-lasting, which is important for these patients because this is a chronic disease and the vitiligo can return. So the longer they're in remission, the more happy they are and will come back and get the treatment in the future. The eczema laser has been studied in over 150 clinical studies. Just some examples of that was a multi-center psoriasis study that was published in the Journal of American Academy of Dermatology. 124 patients, 80 which completed the protocol. 72% achieved at least 75% clearing in an average of 6.2 treatments. We also tested it in vitiligo. 221 vitiligo patches were treated. 50.6% showed 75% repigmentation, and 25% had 100% repigmentation. The eczema laser is particularly effective in scalp psoriasis, over 95% clearance with 50% of the patients. And we've tested the eczema laser on children as well, as low as 11 and 12 years of age. So it's safe for pediatric use. One of the studies that was published in the Journal of Drugs and Dermatology in November of 2020 compared the XTRAC laser to other treatment options for psoriasis, like narrowband UVB, topical steroids, non-biologic systemics, and biologics. And XTRAC checks the box on all the comparatives. When you look at competitive cost, it's right in the ballpark, if not cheaper than most of the other options that are available. From a clinical impact perspective, we had better clinical outcomes, 92% of the patients reaching a PASI score of 75. The speed of onset, very fast response, typically within about 5 weeks. Days of actual care, about 18. And remission, again, very important measurement, 2.5 months of remission without maintenance, where some of the other options do require maintenance therapy. and the adverse events were very mild and temporary. So it really is a very nice comparator that our sales force uses when selling the XTRAC to our patients and to the physicians who treat. The XTRAC is the leader in targeted 308 nanometer eczema laser therapy. It's the best in class eczema treatment. It's been proven safe and effective. As I mentioned, 150 peer-reviewed clinical studies. It's economical for both the patient and the payers, and a win-win for providers and their patients as it adds economic value to their practices. We have a growing installed base worldwide. If you look at January of 2019, we had 746 lasers placed around the world. We're up to 944 at the end of 2021, 890 in the United States, and another 54 internationally. And that represents about 25% growth in the install base over the last 3 years. You see negative numbers on this chart, and what that means is we actually will remove devices that are not being used. We own the devices, so if we place them in an office and the doctor decides that it just wasn't a good choice for him, or he has moved on to something else, we'll remove that device from the doctor's office and redeploy it where it can be utilized. We think that group practices, particularly in the United States, some of these private equity-backed groups and international places will help drive growth going forward. STRATA offers our dermatology partners a true partnership. We deliver a complete business solution for them, and it starts with our direct consumer marketing. We do social media advertising to a number of different platforms, which drives patients into our customer service center. Our customer service center will walk the patient through the entire process, including insurance reimbursement. We have a dedicated reimbursement group that helps not only the doctors' offices, but also the patients in understanding what type of reimbursement they will get for the treatment. We have a clinical support team that goes out and trains not only the dermatologists, but their staff on how to properly use the XTRAC laser. We do copay assistance. We have 15 field service technicians who keep the machines running well, and we don't want our machines down for more than 1 or 2 days, so we have them spread out all across the country. We do upgrades on the laser. Our latest upgrade is the new Momentum 1.0 that we launched in January, and we'll be deploying them across the country as we roll them out to our highest volume customers. And then we do have consumables and parts. Mainly, typically we replace the gas in the lasers on about an annual basis. A key priority for the company is driving commercial execution. And that comes in really 4 pillars. We've sustained our investment in DTC marketing, as historical trends show us the positive correlation between our direct-to-consumer investment and revenue growth. We continue to focus on our highest volume accounts. Our high volume accounts in Q4 of 2021 accounted for 54% of our recurring revenues. So they're very important to our business and will always be a focus. We drive increased utilization across all indications, expanding our usage for all approved indications beyond psoriasis to further drive revenue growth and opportunities for our existing partners. And then increasing our marketing to drive awareness among derms. Direct-to-derm marketing is increasing clinical data to support all indications and reinforce safety, efficacy, and cost benefits to patients and clinics. We look at our domestic market and how our sales force and sales engine is, service engine is deployed. We have 4 regions. As you can see, we're heavily concentrated on the East Coast, as well as in the Midwest, up around the Chicago area and the West Coast. A lot of white space in the middle, which is typical with dermatology companies. We have 30 sales territories, 2 national account managers who focus mainly on group practices and hospital-based dermatologists, 15 field service technicians, a full in-house call center, and we are now the predominant provider of treatments of eczema laser with our acquisition of the Raw Medical Group, of the Pharos Medical team. The XTRAC installed base has multiple growth drivers. Expansion to group clinics roll-ups is one of a primary focus for us. There are about 1,962 clinics owned by about 49 roll-up groups in the United States. And it's an opportunity for us to place multiple devices with just one agreement. We finished 2021 with 312 devices placed, up from 251 at the end of 2020. Comebacks or Placement of lasers in offices that currently had a laser that was not an XTRAC or an XTRAC partnership is another focus for us. We had 48 comebacks in 2021, up from 2023. A lot of those were representative of some of the Pharos conversions that we had after the acquisition in August. And then international markets, currently we're in China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Israel. We have insurance coverage in most of those markets. The usage per device is higher than in the US. The primary treatment or indication treated with eczema laser internationally is vitiligo versus psoriasis in the US. And the vitiligo therapy requires more treatments than the psoriasis treatment. Typically, on average, for psoriasis, it'd be about 10. For vitiligo, it's closer to 20 treatments to start to see results. We have 1,300 devices sold worldwide. And as I mentioned, 54 international partners, 10 additional in 2021. A little bit about the acquisition of the dermatology business of Ra Medical Systems, where we acquired the Pharos laser customers. It provides Strata with an opportunity to market its full business solution to Ra Medical's existing customer base of 250 active accounts. It positions Strata as the predominant provider of eczema laser treatments in the US. And through 12/31/2021, we successfully converted 30 of 73 Pharos users who had come off service agreements. And we still see opportunity with that other 43. They were just not ready to make the transition yet, but those are potential XTRAC customers for us in the future. There's an additional 155 Pharos service contracts expiring in 2022, which will create more opportunity for us. And that Pharos business is anticipated to be accretive for us in this quarter, Q1 of 2022. A little bit about our Theraclear acquisition. This substantially broadens Strata's opportunity with expansion potential into the estimated $5.5 billion acne care market. We know that about 20 to 25% of all visits to dermatologists in the United States is for acne. It leverages Strata's innovative marketing platform, commercial team, and worldwide distribution network, creates a robust pipeline of opportunities to target conditions beyond acne with the unique light treatment approach, and reinforces Strata's vision to be the premier provider of medical dermatology devices to the derm community. And the Theraclear device itself addresses multiple causes of acne, mainly in the sebaceous gland. It shrinks the sebaceous gland, which reduces the production of sebum, and the light actually kills the propionic bacteria that's in the follicle. So it works in multiple ways in treating the acne, and is approved for not only inflammatory acne, but comedonal acne as well. The slide just shows the management team and the experience that currently was in the market. I've spent most of my career in the dermatology space with companies like Encore, Precision, Medicis, Graceway Pharmaceuticals, Stiefel. Chris Lesovitz, our CFO, has also been in the dermatology space as well. And I won't read all of these, but obviously the team brings a lot of experience to the table in dermatology, a lot of relationships with dermatologists, as well as industry relationships that we can capitalize on. Just some of our financial metrics, and we finished Q4 of 2021 with a record quarter, over $9 million in revenue, growing our recurring revenue back up to 2019 levels pre-pandemic, and we think that we can build the business from there with just expanding the usage into the other indications like vitiligo and eczema, as well as continue to grow in the psoriasis market. Some of the key growth drivers for us will be not only driving usage, but raw conversion going forward. That's going to be an important piece of the puzzle, as well as our international growth business, growing the international business in 2022. So some of our commercial drivers, again, DTC advertising will continue to be an important piece of our overall effort. Added emphasis on professional relations and clinical communications, growing our install base and redeploying underutilized devices. Our XTRAC awareness, co-op advertising to suitable patients, both digital and print. Sponsorship of select dermatology conferences and trade shows. We just came back from the American Academy of Dermatology up in Boston, which is the largest dermatology meeting of the year. Continued transition integration of the Ra Medical's Pharos customers. Development of patient advocacy partnerships, insurance coverage gap analysis and activity, particularly around vitiligo and atopic dermatitis, and the launch of our new acne device based on the acquired technology from Theravant. So the key takeaways is we are a differentiated treatment with XTRAC, providing a win-win-win for patients, clinics, and payers. We're addressing large and growing markets, both with organic and positioned for inorganic growth. And we have a proven business model, which we can expand and achieve and our results and provide our shareholders with good returns. So with that, I'll end the presentation and stop sharing my slides here. Joe, turn it back to you.
Bob, thank you very much. Good overview. Let's expand on a few of the things that you covered.
Sure.
You discussed XTRAC in terms of treating skin disease, the benefits of it. What sets XTRAC apart from the other treatments that are out there in the market? What gives you an edge over those other products?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, it's safe and effective. And I think that you have to always start with that when you're talking about any kind of medical treatment. And we've proven that with the 150 clinical studies that we have. The other thing that it's drug-free and it's painless. A lot of patients now are looking for drug-free options, particularly when you look at biologics, which do come with side effects. And some of the dermatologists do have concerns about keeping patients on drugs for long periods of time. So I think that's a superior advantage for us. The remission rates, I talked about 2.5 months of remission when it was compared against some of the other treatments for psoriasis. And these patients have chronic conditions. These conditions are never cured. So the longer they can be in remission, the better for them and the better for the provider, because it shows that they're showing results. And lastly, it's economical. It's not an expensive treatment for the patient, but it's a revenue generator for the practice. So it's a win-win for both the patient and the dermatologist themselves.
You also mentioned that you recently entered the acne market through an acquisition. What can you tell us about the Theraclear system? What drove your decision to get into the market, and what's your timeline for launch here?
Sure. Yeah, so we're very excited about this opportunity, Joe. Obviously, it's a huge market, $5.5 billion. 25% of all patients visits to dermatologists are for acne. We know the space very well. I've sold acne drugs, throughout my career. But the acne market has changed. It used to be a market like other drugs in dermatology that had pretty good payer coverage. And it's not that way anymore. Acne drugs are being more and more considered as cosmetics or cosmetic indication. So there's fewer and fewer drugs that are actually paid for by insurance companies. And we're seeing dermatologists looking for alternative ways to treat acne. We already have a nice base of close to 900 medical doctors treating medical diseases like acne with medical devices. So we thought this would be a great offering to have in our bag for our reps to go out and promote something new, something exciting for the company. The feedback we've got from dermatologists we've spoken to, particularly over this last weekend at the American Academy of Dermatology, has been very, very positive. And I think this is going to be a significant contributor to the company going forward. And as far as timing, we're probably looking about July. We have to build up some inventory. We're doing some additional market research and market planning, but we'll have it launched by mid-year.
Another notable acquisition that Strata made was the U.S. Faros business from RA Medical.
Yes.
What was your rationale? Can you give us an update on the progress there and your expectations for that business going forward?
Sure. So the Faros business was really the only competitor, if you will, to XTRAC in the eczema laser category. We saw it as an opportunity to get access to those practices that currently have Faros. They own those machines and try to move them over to the XTRAC partnership and just sell them on the benefits of being in the partnership for their practice, the direct-to-consumer advertising, the clinical support, the field technicians who keep the machines running on a regular basis. We've targeted mainly coming out of the gate, the 250 who are on service contracts with Ra, because they're starting to come off those contracts since the acquisition. And we're running about 40-45% conversion rate at this point. Another 155 are coming off in 2022. And if we can continue along those lines of conversion, I think that'll be a nice contributor to us in 2022. But even beyond that, there's really no alternative at this point for these Pharos users. They're not going to really have anyone to service their machines. There's really not another competitor in the market. So I think over time, we'll even have a better chance to bring some of those folks over to our XTRAC partnership.
On an international basis, are there markets out there that you are targeting? What are you looking at outside of the U.S.?
Sure. We've had some good success, as you heard, in Asia, particularly Korea, Japan. China's been doing well for us. We have some registrations underway in Australia and Thailand. We're going to start looking into Latin America and Europe, particularly because of the Theraclear acquisition. We know that acne is a pretty good market, particularly in Latin America, that I think we could have some traction with, and obviously we'll bring the XTRAC along with that. A lot of it's around reimbursement, Joe. We don't want to jump into markets where the reimbursement is not very good. Acne is more of a cash pay business, so I think there's a better opportunity, to expand probably in the acne market than maybe the psoriasis market. But wherever we can get good coverage and reimbursement for XTRAC, we'll certainly try to move into those markets as well.
You mentioned that your revenues are starting to get back to the pre-pandemic levels. What's driving it? What do you see that's going on out there right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully all the surges are over with COVID. Our goal in 2021 was to get back to 2019 levels, which were pre-pandemic levels, and we got there. In Q4, we actually exceeded Q4 of 2019. We had a record quarter, and we've given some guidance that we're expecting double-digit growth in 2022, and that's going to be driven mainly by three things in my mind: expanding usage, which is incumbent upon our commercial team, driving usage beyond psoriasis into vitiligo and eczema. Second will be the ROC conversions, our success rate with that. If we can keep that up at 40-45% or better, I think that's going to be a big contributor to us. And lastly, international, our continued expansion and growth, not only organically, but inorganically there. Theraclear, will be a contributor in the second half, but it won't be a big one. It'll be more of a 2023 contributor because we'll be placing machines and trying to get them up and running. So that does take some time. But, I think those four factors are going to, really contribute to us going forward and, putting the COVID epidemic in our rearview mirror, hopefully.
Great. Let's close out by getting your perspective on what you see in the business in terms of growth drivers in 2022 and beyond. What's your sense of the business here in the next couple of years out?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned earlier, reimbursement for dermatology drugs, and I think drugs in general is really getting very, very difficult. And I think that the dermatologists in particular who are treating patients are seeing more opportunity to treat them with devices. The cost to the patient is relatively not any different than prescribing a drug that's not covered and they have to pay for it out of their pocket. So it is a cash business, particularly with the acne space. We have very good coverage with our XTRAC eczema laser for psoriasis. 90% of the claims go through. We're trying to improve the coverage around vitiligo and eczema. About 50% of the claims go through, which is still pretty darn good. But I really think there's a shift in dermatology to more treatments in the office, using devices, using other means of treating besides prescribing drugs. And I think a lot of companies are realizing that. If you look at the AAD, as I mentioned, a lot of the exhibitors at the meeting were drug device companies and fewer drug companies than in the past.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for that overview on the company. Great information. We certainly appreciate it. To anyone out there that has not already signed up for a one-on-one with Bob, again, please visit the Lytham Partners website at lythampartners.com/virtual and click on the one-on-one meetings request button. We hope you enjoy the conference. Have a great day. Again, Bob Moccia, STRATA Skin Sciences, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.